Hello, this is Camnet Television News. My name is Jeffrey Ziabo to read the news tonight. Our top stories in the news tonight: political activist BREBNAR CHANGALA warns of a worse economic situation. RUPIAH BANDA'S memorial service reminds political leaders to unite. Youths in Lusaka march against homosexuality. In international news, UN delegation in the DRC to assess situation in North Kivu province. And in sports news, Bournemouth climbed out of the relegation zone after beating Liverpool.
For immediate coverage of any breaking or latest news in Zambia and around the world on Camnet Television, call the numbers on your screen. Camnet Television, bringing to your screens fair news, impartial news, credible and reliable news all the time. Get the whole truth on Camnet World News. Camnet Television, not just another channel.
Hello and thanks for joining us once again. The news in detail. A witch doctor from Lusaka's Ngombe compound, who has been accused of scamming people different amounts of money, has refunded one complainant out of 3 after the story was aired on Camnet News on the 27th of February 2023. Speaking to Camnet News, the other 2 complainants are of the view that their colleague has been refunded, as he was in the forefront of advocating for the arrests of the witch doctor, stating that what is needed is police action to ensure that he refunds all those he allegedly scammed. On 27th of February 2023, Camnet News carried a story of 3 people who were allegedly scammed by a named witch doctor from Lusaka's Ngombe compound, who got away with different amounts of money without solving their problems as promised. Meanwhile, more people have come to Camnet News after the story was aired, reporting that they too were scammed by the same witch doctor. More in this report.
After Camnet News aired the story of a witch doctor from Lusaka's Ngombe compound operating under the group of a witch doctor known as Dr. Chandulo, who was allegedly scamming people of their money, more people have come forward claiming that they too were scammed by the same witch doctor. The complainants state that the witch doctor runs advertisements on a named radio station, charging a 200 kwacha fee to solve various problems, but state that those problems do not end, and that the witch doctor only keeps demanding for more money, which he refuses to refund. A latest victim from Lusaka's Shawama compound visited Camnet TV to share his story.
Vampire chidotois kutratika tamino kutampo kurashinguruka na shinguruka filiano kwisanje pusho kutira tulefu omumone na tiende fu amumone okay katepepe efo na ikete pepa babika pono muti fumbata efo na tampiro kulapya mino awe ninebo ndepya mwe bantu ati awo warufya nyemipashi paka odi omuti ofo wapokerenga fireworks na abika panshi ta samba menshi yakumanda amenshi na samba tumempia muri inambei 800 diriri ni apaso uchempia shobe shiri mufoni shoboro shabana na tishandi tuma 800 efo natumine 800 dikayunishi ndi muti ochakati nokumfumbatika futi umuti napunda mwe bantu napya we shiwa pako muti ufuna ubikire panshi nokunje batifuma wiroresha kunuma efo na ile efyo fini na peni yandi chireka lipa fie fintu fyandi tafyari fya kumoneka iyo.
He states that he has been going back and forth with the said witch doctor, who has refused to give him back his money. Meanwhile, the witch doctor has refunded 400 kwacha to one of the 3 people who complained on the same in a news story carried by Camnet News on 27th February 2023. The other 2 who have been left out state that they are owed over 2,000 kwacha each, stating that they feel their colleague has been refunded because he was in the forefront of leading the group, urging the police to arrest the witch doctor.
After watuza drama za mkwezani, zamtumirani mafoni, mbwe mtenge drama zani. Gave officer in charge and CIO. So after mukamate mukabwere pa Wednesday. So dapo kumafoni pa Wednesday. Mukamata pa Wednesday sideriko kale ni weze katinga holiday ka Women's Day. So kabwere pa Thursday. So Thursday kwendako mukambata abantu ndrama swana bwerese. So kabwere pa 25. But avenangu anawo pasa ndrama.
Meanwhile, Zambia Police Deputy Spokesperson Danny Mwale says the witch doctor was arrested at Lezole Police Post in Ngombe compound and released on police bond, urging the aggrieved to take the matter to court. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Some youths in Lusaka, under the auspices of World Changes Youth Movement, have vowed to protect Zambia's cultural values and norms. Speaking during a march past in Lusaka with a message to denounce what they term as raising gay rights awareness, Movement President Felix Chikonde noted that Zambia is a Christian nation and that its rich cultural background would not be washed away in the name of civilization. He says the laws of this land are all against the champions of gay and related same-sex relationships. Meanwhile, a concerned citizen has reminded the Zambian people that all successful leaders, both past and present, denounced such sexual maneuvers, hence calling on the public to rally behind the right thing. He says being a third world country in need of help does not mean its citizens must forget who they are by embracing aid that comes with conditions beyond what is deemed normal. He has since commended government for swiftly acting by arresting those that were marching last week to champion LGBTQI rights.
More wiser than God. Yeah. God never created Adam and Adam. He never created Eve and Eve. In his own wisdom, he created male and female. There is no way one person who was against his responsibility to look after children that should bring about this homosexuality, LGBTQ, and spread it to our generation. It's against our Zambian cultural values. It's against our Christian values, which is enshrined in the Constitution of Zambia. So on behalf of the Zambian youths, I as a president for World Changers, we are saying no to homosexuality. We want to echo it to all those who are trying to propagate and influence the innocent lives of the young people to begin to adopt these unnatural behaviors. We are saying again that these issues should never be condoned by any well-meaning Zambian. Therefore, let us allow the government to concentrate on serious matters. And we want to call upon the government. We want to congratulate them, more especially the law enforcing agents, for them to move in swiftly and arrest those people that are propagating these behaviors. Because Zambia itself is a Christian nation. Our message is clear, beloved. Zambia is a sovereign state with a constitution which we are governed by. Hence, homosexuality is a criminal offense in our land.
Former Transparency International Zambia chapter president Ruben Lifuka says the arrest of the Auditor General by the Anti-Corruption Commission earlier this week speaks to government's stance on the fight against corruption. Speaking to Camnet TV, Mr. Lifuka explains that the fight against corruption can only be won if no one is treated as a sacred cow. He says this step shows that the current administration will not tolerate any form of corruption at any level, hoping that the matter will soon be disposed of and shared with the Zambian people. On the 9th of March 2023, the Anti-Corruption Commission arrested and charged the Auditor General Dr. Dick Sichembe for corrupt practices involving over 1 million kwacha. Dr. Dick Chela Sichembe, 52, of plot number 823 Miracle Lane, Roma, Lusaka, was charged with one count of obtaining goods by false pretenses, contrary to Section 309 of the Penal Code, Cap 87 of the laws of Zambia, and one count of conspiracy to defraud the government of the Republic of Zambia, contrary to Section 313 of the Penal Code, Cap 87 of the laws of Zambia, and one count of willful failure to follow applicable procedures, contrary to Section 34 of the Anti-Corruption Act No. 3 of 2012.
Well, the arrest of the Auditor General, first and foremost, it's something unprecedented in the sense that this involves allegations bordering on misappropriation or mismanagement of public resources. Ordinarily, you would expect that the Auditor General is the one that holds the financial stewardship of public resources. So, in itself, it does demonstrate the challenges that this government faces to clean up the public financial management system, to ensure that we have robust systems in place of auditing all resources that have been appropriated by Parliament. But obviously it demonstrates that there will be no sacred cows in the way that allegations of corruption are handled. And I think it is important that everyone where allegations have been raised is fully subjected to investigation and where necessary prosecution. So to that extent, therefore, this is a welcome development. One just hopes that it will be handled expeditiously and it does not cause disturbances in the way public resources are managed.
Late former President RUPIAH BANDA'S brother James Banda has reminded President Hakainde Hichilema to have regular conversations with his predecessor Edgar Lungu, as this is what RUPIAH Banda would have wanted to see. In a statement read on his behalf by Brigadier General Nebat Piri at the first memorial service of the late former president, Mr. Banda says Zambia needs a peaceful landscape that will ensure meaningful development, which he says is only possible if past and present leaderships are at peace. Meanwhile, President Hichilema says Zambia will forever be indebted to Mr. Banda for the role he played in uniting the country and ensuring the rule of law. The service marks 1 year since President RUPIAH Banda died on the 11th of March 2022 and was attended by former vice presidents, former first ladies, serving and former ministers and government officials, as well as family and friends. More in this report.
Zambia's Republican President Hakainde Hichilema, the family and friends, leaders of the opposition, international dignitaries, the clergy, among others, Saturday morning gathered at the Cathedral of the Holy Cross in Lusaka for the first memorial service of the late 5th Republican President RUPIAH Banda, who died on 11th of March 2022 at the age of 85. Memories of his demise are still fresh for the First Lady Tandiwe Banda, his children and great-grandchildren, who in their tribute spoke of how life has not been easy without him around.
I carry your heart with me. I carry it in my heart. I am never without it. Anywhere I go, you go, my dear. And whatever is done only by me is your duty, my darling.
On behalf of all my brothers and sisters from the Sarah and Luzani household, I say thank you for your endless love and care for all of us.
You'll be proud to know, Brenda, that despite the huge loss that I and many of my siblings and cousins personally feel, great things have also happened to us since then, and we know that it would only have been possible without you looking down on us and blessing us in heaven.
And Dixon Jerry, who was Mr. Banda's spokesperson in remembering his master, advised those in government to be accommodative and ensure that they pick up calls regardless of who is contacting them.
And this is a lesson which I want my colleagues in government, those in State House, cabinet ministers, councillors, mayors,
and family representative James Banda, who is the brother to the late President RUPIAH Banda, in his speech read on his behalf by Brigadier General Nebat Piri, says unity was his brother's greatest wish and has appealed to the President Hakainde Hichilema to make amends with his predecessor, former President Edgar Lungu.
Mr. President, I wish to appeal, and in addition, that you have a brother in your predecessor, His Excellency, Mr. Edgar Lungu, who was once president. Surely, it will be beneficial for the two of you to speak to each other from time to time.
And Zambia's President Hakainde Hichilema in his speech described how great a person Mr. Banda was, who respected the rule of law and believed in uniting the country.
I think the lesson to all of us, those of us in active public service today, is to keep drawing from what others before us did, such as Arabic, presidents that came before us, leaders that came before us, vice presidents that are there. It's not a matter of which party, it's a matter of what we can learn from each other to make the country better for all of our citizens, not some, but all of our citizens.
Family and close friends then proceeded at the presidential bedside to lay their wreath. May his soul continue to rest in eternal peace. Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
And British Ambassador to Zambia, Nicholas Woolley, says the late President RUPIAH Banda was a statesman who managed to unite the country at the most difficult time in the history of Zambia. Mr. Woolley, who has also described former President Banda as a unique leader, was a friend of Britain and will forever be missed. Meanwhile, Democratic Party office bearer Judith Kabemba says the commemoration of the Women's Week should remind the leaders the importance of women, adding that the late President RUPIAH Banda respected women and incorporated them in his leadership.
RUPIAH Banda, and to celebrate all his achievements as a freedom fighter, as a diplomat, as a politician and as a statesman. He brought this country together at some of its most difficult points in its history. He was truly a man of the people. He was truly a friend of the UK, and I'm proud to say he was a friend of mine too.
Today we have a lot of people in office, and when they are voted, they forget that they are presidents for those that voted for them and for those that did not vote for them. But for late President Banda, even those that never voted for him, he embraced them when he became president. Let me also mention that as we are celebrating Women's Week, President Banda is one man that respected women. He is one man that regarded women. I remember very well in his statement in 2011, he did mention that we cannot manage to ignore women as a country in our quest to achieve and attain development.
Political activist BREBNAR CHANGALA has charged that unless government works on the current economic hardships the majority Zambians are facing, the country risks sinking. In an interview with the media, Mr. CHANGALA says the United Party for National Development, UPND, was voted into office on the premise of involving and improving the economy, but that the country is not swimming ashore but sinking. And Mr. CHANGALA says the current fight against corruption is mere rhetoric owing to the fact that investigative wings have been placed under the office of the president. Meanwhile, All People's Congress Party President Nelson Musoni has advised President Hakainde Hichilema to take a leaf and learn from what the past presidents did to unite the country. More in this report.
The United Party for National Development, UPND, has continued to receive checks and balances from different stakeholders who are keen at ensuring that the party lives up to its manifesto. Political activist BREBNAR CHANGALA has, however, stated that the country might sink if the current administration does not address the current economic challenges which they based their campaign on, and made the Zambian people believe that they had solutions to the current challenges.
They are having challenges, but let's talk about what they came to perform or to do as their duties: to unite the country, improve the economy, and take Zambia to another level. We have a situation where the economy, which has been their main focus, is in dire straits. We are not swimming ashore. If we are not careful, we might sink.
Mr. CHANGALA was also quick to mention that the fight against corruption in Zambia has been compromised following government's decision to move all investigative wings to the office of the president. He has questioned how these institutions will work independently when they are receiving instructions from their topmost boss, who in this case is the president, under whose office they now report to.
The Secretary to the Cabinet signed SI or Gazette Notice 1123, where these offices are now under the presidency. And if you know, as I do, grand corruption is in the executive arm of government. And for them to move these institutions under their doorsteps, we have a challenge and a cycle where corruption of UPND can only be fought through a regime change when there is a change of government. And yet, corruption must be fought in real time as it happens.
Meanwhile, All People's Congress Party President Nason Nsoni has challenged the current administration to learn from the previous leaders on how they managed to unite the country and not the current situation where the country is being divided.
Lack of sensitivity when it comes to unity is striking and amazing on his part. You can't bring all your brothers and sisters in government to the solution of everybody. And then you leave, after that you say, no, it's one Zambia, one nation. How can it be one Zambia, one nation? So we encourage him to take leaf and learn from what other presidents have done in the past to sustain the peace we're enjoying. It was not by accident. They had to take deliberate decisions. They had to take deliberate actions. You think these ones don't have brothers and sisters or relatives and cousins to put in government, but they recognize that government responsibilities must be shared.
The question as to whether the UPND will be given another tenure of office in 2026 will depend on how they utilize the remaining 1,250 days. Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
This is Camnet Television Main News. We take our first break. We'll be back with more news after the break.
From time immemorial, we have had different types of lighting options, from those that can burn down our investments in minutes to those that dig holes in our pockets due to constant replacement and huge consumption of our ZESCO units. Savenda Electric introduces the new and advanced electric bulb with cutting-edge technology of LED that has low power consumption, gives out bright white light, and lasts up to 25,000 hours. Savenda Electric manufactures all types of LED light, like plastic LED fluorescent tubes, down lights, ceiling lights, outdoor fittings, and solar street lights made to customer specifications. Let's live on the bright side of life by choosing the wide range of Savenda electric lighting solutions that are available in all leading stores and supermarkets countrywide. For orders, call 0962-642-490 or email jnbanda@savenda.com or pchabula@savenda.com.
Your skin is the biggest muscle in your body. That's why we make sure that Oracle is #1 when it comes to taking care of your precious skin. Oracle Pure Petroleum Jelly and Glycerin soothes, moisturizes, and keeps your skin perfect. Oracle Pure Petroleum products for that perfect skin.
Coverage of any breaking or latest news in Zambia and around the world on Camnet Television, call the numbers on your screen. Camnet Television, bringing to your screens fair news, impartial news, credible and reliable news all the time. Get the whole truth on Camnet World News. Camnet Television, not just another channel.
Welcome back. We continue with the news. The opposition leadership movement party has charged that the youths in Zambia have no reason to celebrate the upcoming Youth Day commemoration slated for the 12th of March 2023 as the ruling United Party for National Development, UPND, has not put in place enabling policies to help them live a better life. Addressing the media Saturday morning, leadership movement party president Richard Silumbe states that youths in the country have continued grappling with challenges such as unemployment, which was the same situation that was prevailing before the current administration came into office almost 2 years ago. He has accused the current administration of making a turnaround from their promises to the Zambian youths, stating that what is now prevailing is reports of named UPND youths benefiting from mines while ordinary youths roam the streets due to lack of economic activities. He has therefore urged President Hakainde Hichilema to ensure that the lives of the youths in Zambia are uplifted through mass employment creation, stating that they voted for him in numbers in August 2021 so that they can see their lives improve.
How many of you are going to be employed by the New Dawn government of Vendanta? Bambitamokwatana mass certificate, tamakwatana ma grade 12, bambitamwana pu school because free education all issue. So ngabale mieva atao trefa mass certificate. You have nothing to benefit from that. Demand what you can benefit from, such as mining. Trefa muntu onse akwate Zambu isha kuchita mining. Whether walisambira na mtawasambira pantu nishu muntu onse akachita benefit mukopa belt not tule mfafi atao ni baluswa nisu che fye pantu vena ni ba UPND youth chairperson eva kwete mine eve ngakwatensa mushakuimba kopa nangula gold nangula diamond tufire bonse tulechita enjoy ama rights ya Mzambia bonse tufire tule imbo mkuba pantu ifi fintule satupera.
Katombora constituency member of parliament Clement Andeleki says his constituency, located in southern province, is lagging far behind in comparison to other constituencies, stating that the area does not even have communication network towers. Speaking to Camnet News, Mr. Andeleki states that this has led to an information gap, as this means that people have no access to the internet and depend on traditional modes of information dissemination such as radio. He has, however, assured residents of his constituency that 19 communication network towers are set to be rolled out in the first quarter of 2023. He notes that the coming of the communication network towers will also draw civil servants such as teachers closer to the constituency, as most people opt to stay far away as they want to stay in places with development.
Under the New Dawn government, the New Dawn government has rolled out 19 telephone network towers, and these are being rolled out in the first quarter of the year 2023, meaning that there will be no one climbing into a tree to look for telephone network. And gratitude goes to the government of the day, gratitude goes to His Excellency President, the Vice President, the Cabinet, for thinking about our people. Because our people have had to walk longer distances to search for telephone network. Our civil servants, who are garant civil servants, have had difficulties to communicate with their families. We say thank you. The other thing they should look out for is road network. We have procured part of the equipment, which are earth-moving equipment, which is already on the ground, working with our Kazungula District Council. We are already on the ground, making sure that all road networks in Kazungula District of Katombora constituency is opened up, because the biggest problem that our people have had is the road network also. Our people have had no roads. So because of that, development could not easily be delivered by the government.
The Governance Elections Advocacy Research Services GEARS initiative says it will soon begin advocacy programs on the Public Gatherings Bill to increase sensitization among citizens, stating that it is disappointed that it is not one of the bills that will be presented in the current session of Parliament. In an exclusive interview, Governance Elections Advocacy Research Services GEARS Programs Coordinator Gideon Musonda says working with civil society organizations that have been advocating for a reform of the Public Order Act to make it more responsive to democracy, they will soon begin conducting various radio and television programs aimed at building citizen awareness and building pressure so that the bill can see its way in Parliament. He has expressed that stakeholders will be happy to see the bill in Parliament during the next session. Latest, more in this report.
The Public Order Act in Zambia has remained a topical issue, as stakeholders have been calling for a reform of this law to ensure that it responds to the country's democratic tenets. While the United Party for National Development, UPND, has demonstrated political will to reform this law, having suffered at the hands of the police while in the opposition, Zambia is still operating under the same law as it has not yet been reformed, with a bill known as the Public Gatherings Bill currently awaiting parliamentary approval. The latest conflict as regards the Public Order Act occurred Saturday afternoon after the Zambia police moved in on some opposition political party leaders who were demonstrating the 25-year concession agreement with a foreign company for the construction of the Lusaka dual carriageway on the basis that they did not have a police permit. The protesters, on the other hand, argued that all they needed to do was to notify the police.
Yes, but there's no permit. There's no permit. There's no permit. What is there? There's no permit. How does the permit look like? The letters. Show us the letters from you. It is saying we are not going ahead. So show us the letter. Show us. Which letter? Show us the it's you wrote. And then pressed it, but you are not given it. So now, officer, you need to make yourself as we work. You've been coming to the office and we have been having a discussion. Then you show up without a letter. And then what you have shown up is just to come and discuss the application. Does that make sense to you?
In an interview, Governance Advocacy Research Services GEARS Initiative Programs Coordinator Gideon Mulenga is disappointed that despite much noise being created around the Public Gatherings Bill in 2022, and the bill having been presented to the Ministry of Home Affairs and Internal Security, as well as the Ministry of Justice, the bill is not among those to be presented in the current session of Parliament.
We are disappointed because as we were approaching last year, the presentation of that bill was a priority, and government somehow demonstrated the urgency in which we needed to table that bill before Parliament. So now that it's not among the listed bills that are to be presented, we are worried. So that's why we need to heighten, the advocacy, not only civil society, but all the stakeholders, so that we can have that bill presented in the next sitting. So the system is still using those provisions we are condemning. Those provisions we are saying they should be reformed. So it's extremely important that we have reformation, or the reforms to these, restrictive laws, so that we avoid situations where there can be any impediment in the exercise of those freedoms of expression, freedom of association, and the like.
He states that stakeholders want to see the bill reformed as soon as possible to ensure that all restrictive aspects are removed. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
You're watching Camnet Television and not just another channel. We'll take our second and final break. We'll be back with international sports news after the break.
Water is life. Each drop counts and each must be cherished. Our tried and tested product meets all international standards. With our smart drip technology, we aim to deliver precision irrigation designed to reduce blockage and wastage, ensuring a high yield. RenGlow, your smart irrigation partner.
Welcome back, and in our international news, United Nations officials have arrived in the Democratic Republic of Congo on Friday to assess the security and humanitarian situation in the east of the country. Fighting in the North Kivu province has intensified recently, with the M23 rebels threatening to cut off all road links to Goma, a city of more than 1 million inhabitants situated on the border with Rwanda. Speaking on arrival, the French ambassador to the UN reaffirmed the support of the international community with the DRC. For more in international news, here's a roundup.
United Nations officials have arrived in the Democratic Republic of Congo on Friday to assess the security and humanitarian situation in the east of the country. Speaking on arrival, the French ambassador to the UN reaffirmed the support of the international community to the DRC. The main message we have come to convey is that the United Nations, the international community, stands by the Democratic Republic of Congo in its ordeal, because what is happening in the east of the country is not acceptable. The action of the groups is very reprehensible. It must be fought. Several regional initiatives intending to defuse the conflict have failed so far. An Angola-mediated ceasefire that had been due to take effect on Tuesday collapsed the same day.
We have been saying since the beginning of this interview that the Security Council have many levers in his action for peace and security. One of them, or I may say the main tool for peace and security is dialogue. It's difficult to make it without dialogue and negotiation. Indeed, we don't have only dialogue, and we are here to envisage all the possibility on the objective to bring peace and security according.
The Congolese government accuses Rwanda of backing the M23 rebels. UN experts, the United States and several other Western states have also concluded that Rwanda supports the group, although Kigali has so far denied that.
Just a request then for a comment from the EFF following the president being cleared by the public protector. What is the message or the response or reaction of the EFF?
It's nonsensical. It took them over 9 months to release that report. Advocate Galega in particular, who is the acting public protector, has been sitting on it and has released a nonsensical finding. I mean, just a preliminary review. We know that Wali Roda, who was the general in which Cyril Ramaphosa claims to have reported the crime to, is not a law enforcement agency. So you don't report a crime to an individual and think that is a case that has been registered, number one. Number two, she wants to pin the rogue investigation which was done by Wali Road in terms of kidnapping suspects, bribing them, utilizing state resources and communication interceptors to Wali Road alone. Whereas we know Wali Road would never operate without a direct mandate from his principal, who is Cyril Ramaphosa. So she has fallen, maybe deliberately, into the trap of scapegoating Cyril Ramaphosa's employees for the crimes he's committed. And that is what Ramaphosa does. The money which was handed over at Palapala Farm was handed over to his employees so that he can have palpable, deniable plausibility of having been part and parcel of money laundering and keeping illicit financial money. The money was put in mattresses and sofas by his employees, so he can be able to deny it. He sent Pejani Chauke to see the president of Namibia, Geingob, and try and negotiate the apprehension of those suspects because he doesn't want his hands to be dirty. So that is how he operates. And to exempt him from the criminal activities of his underlings and those under his employ is completely nonsensical. And it's clear now why Galega sat on this report for so long. She's contradicting esteemed judges and a former Chief Justice of the Constitutional Court because she's a hired gun. She was brought into that office to put Palapala under the rug, and they were not going to allow it. We expected her to come with such a nonsensical outcome, and it's a blessing in disguise that she's only acting. And the sooner she gets removed from that office, the better.
It's now time for sports news. Mohamed Salah's glaring penalty miss ensured Bournemouth climbed out of the relegation zone after an excellent win which damaged Liverpool's chance of qualifying for next season's Champions League. The Reds were brought back down to earth after last week's 7-0 thrashing of Manchester United as the Cherries, who started the weekend bottom, did their survival chances a power of good. Liverpool were punished for poor defending when the unmarked Philip Billing struck from 8 yards out for his 6th Premier League goal of the season, after fine work by Dango Ouattara. Virgil van Dijk had a header cleared off the line at 0-0, and substitute Diogo Jota was denied by Neto's fine save before Liverpool won a penalty after the Portugal forward's header was handled by Adam Smith. But Salah, who became Liverpool's all-time Premier League scorer with 129 goals last week, blazed the penalty wide, much to the delight of Bournemouth fans. While the win catapulted Bournemouth to 16th before the 15 hours GMT kickoffs, Jurgen Klopp's side missed the chance to go fourth for the first time this season after a lethargic display. Having scored 7 times in their last match, the Reds failed to register a goal against the worst defense in the Premier League. Liverpool have made strides in recent weeks, but this was a step backwards for a team who face a mountainous task to stay in the Champions League when they go to European champions Real Madrid on Wednesday, looking to claw back a 5-2 deficit. Their patchy away from just 3 wins in 13 league games on the road continues to hold them back. Chess Federation of Zambia President Leslie Chikose says the federation is making progress towards incorporating chess in the school curriculum. Chikose says zonal leagues have been created to identify chess players who have potential to play at national level. He says his office is in constant engagement with the Ministry of Education and the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Arts to use chess to inculcate values such as patience, critical thinking and time management among the children and youths. Chikose was speaking at the ongoing Zambia Open Women Chess Championship in Lusaka, which has attracted participants from Zimbabwe, Malawi, Botswana and Zambia as a host country. He says currently the under-16 girls are performing exceptionally well at the championship and has encouraged parents to help their children join chess at the grassroots. Chikose has also held female chess players in the country for their performance at various tournaments that have continued to secure medals for the country at international events. Meanwhile, one of the participants from Zambia, Namakao Likando, who has so far won 3 rounds, says she has confidence that Zambian players will scoop the first prize. To end Camnet television news, the headlines once again. Political activist BREBNAR CHANGALA warns of a worse economic situation. RUPIAH BANDA'S memorial service reminds political leaders to unite. Youths in Lusaka march against homosexuality. In international news, UN delegation in the DRC to assess situation in North Kivu province. And in sports news, Bournemouth climbed out of the relegation zone after beating Liverpool. Our Camnet verse of the day is coming from Psalms 86, verse 6 to 7. Hear my prayer, O Lord. Listen to my cry for mercy. In the day of my trouble, I will call to you, for you will answer me. Thank you again for watching Camnet Television News. My name is Jeffrey Ziambo. Bye-bye.